Namaskar. Welcome to episode 10 of Sanmitram Series. Sanmitram features interesting conversations with youngsters who share with us their journey and contributions in the field of art and culture. In this series, we have a very dedicated and passionate French Mohiniyattam dancer, Thomas Vo Van Kou, who holds a bachelor's degree in history, French, and Hindi pedagogy, and a master's degree that focuses on the research in contemporary history of Bharatanatyam and Bharatanatyam male performance. Welcome, Thoma. It's a delight to have you for Sanmitram series.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What made you choose this enchanting Mohiniyattam art form that is devoted largely to women?
I basically started learning Bharatanatyam when I was 12 years old, because there was no other option where I was living, and at that time I didn't know anything about the other Indian dance styles. I've discovered Mohiniyattam much later, when I was around like 25, something like that. I was traveling to Kerala, and I was with few of my friends who were learning Kathakali, Kudiyattam in Kalamandalam. So I was just there with them, jobless, basically. And they just suggested me, Toma, why don't you, learn something? You are in Cherturti. There are like plenty of teachers who would be ready to teach you something. So just try something. And I chose Mohiniyattam. And after the first class that I had with the Haimavati teacher, Kalamandalam Haimavati, I just fell in love with the art form, with the movements, with the slow pace and the curvy movements. So yeah, it was like by chance, I would say, that Mohiniyattam came to me. So to me, Mohiniyattam was much more organic. Like the movements of Mohiniyattam much more organic than those of Bharatanatyam, because of the curvy lines, as I said, and it's probably the influence of the very opulent nature of Kerala, the greenery which is everywhere all around you in that beautiful state. So every movement is like palm trees swaying in the wind, and that's what I liked.
Tell us about your acharyas, your teachers, and what qualities you have admired in them.
So I learned dance from 3 different teachers. So I started learning Bharatanatyam with a teacher who is based in France. Her name is Katia Legeret Manochaya. She has learned Bharatanatyam in India, in Mysore, from K. Murlidhar Rao and Swarnamukhi as well in Chennai. I've learned Bharatanatyam for quite a long time, for 15 years, and what I admire in my Bharatanatyam teacher is the way she has, all these years, the way she has nurtured and kept all those choreographies that she has learned from her guru, and the way she has passed it on to me. So my first Mohiniyattam teacher was Kalamandalam Haimavati. She's a very sweet person and very patient. Initially, when I came to her to learn Mohiniyattam, she was not surprised. I mean, it was not the first time that she had a boy who wanted to learn Mohiniyattam, but she was like quite amused because I'm a foreigner, and she was like, okay, what am I going to teach him? Um, so she accepted me as a student, and she has been very generous, like very very generous with me. She has taught me a lot of things. Of course, my first adabus and the first items that I've learned in Mohiniyattam. And later on, when I moved to Chennai for work, I met Dr. Nina Prasad, who is my guru right now. I discovered a completely like a new world with her, a new Mohiniyattam, a new way of moving. Like everything was familiar, but also very new. Uh, she is she's again just like Kalamdalam Haimavati, very very generous teacher, extremely creative mind, and yeah, it's very inspiring to see her choreographing, to be with her, to be around her, basically. There are basically two styles of Mohiniyattam, Kalamandalam style and Kalyani Kutiyamma style. My teacher, Dr. Nina Prasad, has learned both, but she felt that, when you learn two different styles of a same art form, you tend to, you know, kind of like mix the
Yes.
adavus, right? The way the adavus are done. So she has um, like she has done a lot of research about movement in Mohiniyattam, and she has kind of amalgamated both the styles, Kalyani Kutiyamma style, sorry, and Kalamandalam style. So I would say the main difference between, let's say, Kalamandalam style that I've learned before from Kalamandalam Haimavati and Dr. Nina Prasad style is, um, I would say, like first of all, the the richness of the movements, like the adavus in Dr. Nina Prasad styles are, like, I would say not endless, but there are a lot of adavus. I would say maybe probably 140, 150 adavus grouped in 17th groups of adavus, whereas Kalamandalam has only 30 adavus, which, so it's very limited. So so yeah, there was a difference of like quantity of movements that were available for choreographies. And then I would say when it comes to lines, um, Kalamandalam styles has maybe more curvy lines, whereas Dr. Naprasad styles has like maybe more curvy as well. Of course, it's Mohiniyattam, so but maybe more angular. Like for example, if I like something like that would be done in Kalamandalam, whereas we would do it like this with Dr. Nina Prasad. So you see so yeah, that's one of the main difference, I would say, the lines.
Na na na
You hold a bachelor's degree in history, French, and Hindi pedagogy, and your master's degree is based on your research on the history of contemporary Bharatanatyam and Bharatanatyam male performers. Could you please share with us your learnings and knowledge on the research?
So I did my BA in history and archaeology, Then I did another BA in French pedagogy. It's basically about how to teach French as a foreign language. So what are the different ways and tools that a teacher can use to teach French as a foreign language. And I also did a BA in Hindi in parallel with that French pedagogy BA. जो कुछ पढ़ा है वही इसके बारे में बात करूंगा. I also did a BA in history and archaeology, and later on I did another BA in what we call French as a foreign language. So it's basically French pedagogy, how to teach French as a foreign language. So how to teach French to somebody whose mother tongue is not French. And I did a BA in Hindi, और तो वो BA in Hindi was basically literature के बारे में हमने बहुत कुछ सीखा है. Literature, भाषा के बारे में, ग्रामर. तो मैंने हिंदी सीखना शुरू किया क्योंकि जब मैं बच्चा था तो मेरी पड़ोसन जो थी वो तमिलनाडु से थी. और वो मुझे आई यूज टू बोरो लॉट ऑफ तमिल मूवीज फ्रॉम हर, और एक दिन उन्होंने मुझे एक हिंदी फिल्म दी थी सॉरी. और जब मैंने उस फिल्म प्ले किया था तो आई जस्ट गॉट लाइक आई वाज लाइक वाओ व्हाट इज दिस लैंग्वेज. वो सुन के मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा हिंदी. और इट वाज जस्ट लाइक म्यूजिक टू मी. तो मैंने सोचा कि ठीक है, ये भाषा तो मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगती है, तो इसको क्यों ना सीखूं. तो मैंने हिंदी सीखना शुरू किया अकेले, खुद से. मैंने किताबों से सीखी, और बाद में मैंने नोटिस किया कि मेरी हिंदी तो इतनी बुरी नहीं थी. तो मैंने सोचा ठीक है, चलो एक BA कर दूंगा, और वही किया.
That's fantastic.
So I've done my master's in performing art, theater studies. My research thesis was about the contemporary history of Bharatanatyam and the male performing artists. It was like divided into, like I had to write two theses, one in first year and one in second year. So in first year, it was about the history of Bharatanatyam and how the art form transitioned from hereditary practitioners from the, like, what we call the Devadasi community, to mostly upper caste practitioners today. So that was what my research was about, how it transitioned from one community to another. And so yeah, I've learned a lot about it, because I think the narrative that is taught to us by most of our teachers is very different from what the actual history of the art form is. So that was a very, very interesting research that I've done, and I've learned a lot about the events that happened around Bharatanatyam. Then in second year, I wrote my thesis about male performing artists of Bharatanatyam, and how they were perceived in the society, and why it was, for some families, a problem to have a son who wished to become a professional artist. So for, of course, many reasons. And I also compared the situation between France, Europe mainly, and India.
What have been your memorable performances?
There are two performances that I'll always remember and cherish. The first one was when I organized the Indian Dance Festival in my university when I was a student. I had invited a few friends of mine who are also, practitioners of Indian art forms, Odissi, Mohiniyattam, Kathakali, etc. So I opened the festival with a Bharatanatyam performance. I thought that the auditorium would be like, empty, basically. I was not expecting like a big crowd for the event. But so when we started the performance, when the university staff opened the doors of the auditorium, like it was like a lot of people were waiting behind the doors of the auditorium, and the auditorium was packed. Everybody was like super excited about the performance. There were people sitting on the stairs, like it was packed completely. um so I was really happy, and it made the performance just like great. I felt really comfortable on stage, and I mean it wasn't like a great event in terms of like visibility or whatever, but I was really happy because I had organized it, and there were a lot of people very happy to be a part of that event, and I danced really well that day, I think. So yeah, that made me happy. And the second one I was when I performed in the Fez festival in Morocco. Um, it was for the 20th edition of that festival, and again it was a very memorable performance because of uh, all the work that we had done for it. We had like rehearsed a lot, like a year almost, for this event because it was quite a big thing. And again it was in an open air. It was an open air performance, and it was packed again. Like there were like 5,000 people. The Queen of Morocco was sitting just in front of the stage, and that was like, okay, I'm a part of a big thing, an important event. So yeah.
What are your current engagements and how do you plan to propagate this beautiful art form in the future?
Back in France, after like I spent 6 years in India. I was working in India as a French teacher. So I came back in 2020. I mean, we all know what happened in 2020, of course. So I came back to France and decided to stop teaching languages because I really wanted to give some time to what my real passion is. So, I mean, dance, of course. So I decided to teach Mohiniyattam in France. So I'm currently teaching in my hometown, which is Tours, not so far from Paris, and I teach in Paris as well. I have a couple of performances also. Like I was quite surprised because I got a lot of calls for performances, so it's great. It was unexpected as well, so I'm very happy. I think people know what the Indian dances are, but they mostly know Kathak and Bharatanatyam. Okay, there are a lot of Bharatanatyam teachers in France, um, some Kathak teachers and Odissi as well. We are very, very few, I would say maybe 2 or 3 Mohiniyattam dancers in France. So it's not that popular. People don't really know what Mohiniyattam is, so they generally think that Mohiniyattam is like a slow Bharatanatyam or something like that. So I'm currently teaching Mohiniyattam, and that's through teaching and workshops that I I hope that Mohiniyattam will be more popular in France and in Europe, and of course through my performances. There's a lot of misconceptions about this art form. when you read like articles or like articles about Mohiniyattam on the internet, you can find like it's the feminine version of Kathakali, or it's a kind of Bharatanatyam. I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot. So no, it's an art form. It has its own vocabulary. It has its own movements and aesthetic as well. So that's what I want to show. That's what I want to share with everybody.
That's wonderful, Thoma. How has dancing influenced your life, Thoma? And what do you think is the usefulness of dance to the society?
So I started learning dance at a young age. I was 12. So I don't really remember a time when I was not dancing. So how it has impacted my life. It has always been a part of my life, but it has given me a goal, like a name. Like I know exactly where I want to go in life, what I want to do. And yeah, I wake up with, thinking of dance of my, my daily practice. I go to bed thinking how bad or how good my practice was. So yeah, it has filled my life with a purpose. Dance is not only useful for dancers. So how dance is useful for society? Um, I would just share something that a friend of mine had told me about dance. And she was talking about a performance that she has, a Mohiniyattam performance that she had seen.
Mm.
And she told me, Thoma, like the kind of beauty I've experienced on stage today with that Mohiniyattam performance, this is what the society needs to change, like just beauty. The beauty that you can create on stage with movement, rhythm, and music is, I think, something that deeply changes people. You don't have to necessarily dance or choreograph pieces about social issues to change somebody. I think that the beauty that you create through your body, through the rhythm, through music, can deeply impact uh, a human being and its environment.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Thoma. Your talent and dedication itself will open the doors for many more successes and awards. On behalf of India Foundation, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.